More antigen tests are available for USC students and faculty. See how these free tests are helping COVID-cautious Trojans. People with limited incomes may soon receive $1,000 every month. Find out who can qualify. And we're learning more about what led up to yesterday's mass shooting on a Brooklyn subway.
Annenberg TV News is next.
At-home COVID tests are back, and the university is encouraging students to test more often. Good evening, I'm Sydney Charles.
And I'm Ella Katz. Reporter Elena Botros spoke with USC's Chief Health Officer and students.
USC is still providing COVID PCR tests. And starting today, students can pick up an at-home antigen kit.
Of course, I think they're helpful. I think it would be unreasonable to say that any test like this wasn't helpful to some degree. And I like that USC provides it. It makes it a lot easier for me.
I like the availability of it. So anytime that I do feel sick or something, I don't have to find another place to get tested. I could just go here.
I'm actually going to just take it home to my parents because they don't have as much access to home testing. So this is for them because I can get tested here anytime. I really hope that they keep the testing in the kits because I need it, and this is much easier for me, and I don't really know what else I would do without it.
Students can now pick up antigen test kits here at Jefferson Parking Structure. USC's Chief Health Officer encourages students to test after visiting family this holiday weekend or attending Coachella.
Cases are slightly increasing, but hospitalizations and deaths are not rising. But we're following that. We also are trying really hard at USC to keep student case numbers down because we know they contribute not only to the health and safety concerns on campus, but the overall county. And that's why we're asking students, particularly if they're going to be traveling, to test.
Last week, USC had 259 positive cases, and the week before, 320. These numbers include cases tested at USC and cases that are self-reported after using an at-home antigen test kit. Van Orman says the vast majority of positive cases are the highly infectious BA2 Omicron subvariant. For Annenberg Media, I'm Elena Botros.
The CDC is extending the nationwide mask mandate for transportation until May 3rd. The requirement was set to expire on April 18th, but has been pushed in response to rising COVID cases across the country. This is the 5th federal mask mandate extension to date. The order comes despite mixed feelings from some South LA residents who frequently use public transportation.
I think it's better to protect yourself using the mask.
It doesn't really make sense to still have the mask keep on going on. People can get, treated for COVID now, and it's more safer than what it used to be. So I'm completely fine with people not wearing masks.
The extended mandate comes after an 8% increase in COVID cases in the U.S. as compared to just 2 weeks ago.
New numbers from the federal government show gas and food prices are skyrocketing. Reporter Sofia Gonzalez shows us how a program in LA County is helping people who are having a tough time financially.
1 in 5 Angelenos experience food insecurity, and with prices increasing, more are struggling to afford food and transportation.
Right now, with the wage I get, I've noticed that it's been a dramatic increase on gas. So before I would have to just, with $100, I'd be able to get around, but now I gotta almost pay double a week. So that's $100 less I have for my food. You always need food above everything. You gotta feed the people you live with too.
I kind of don't really want to drive as much just to conserve on gas because I don't have money.
I use the car only for emergencies. Before, my tank would get filled with $40, now with $100. As residents managed to adapt to the new soaring prices, LA County offered a guaranteed income program where 1,000 lucky random individuals will be giving $1,000 every month for the next 3 years. That is, if they have experienced negative COVID impacts. This is the first guaranteed income program offered by the county. The executive director of the program, called Breathe, says the goal is to help the community.
We're hoping that use of these funds and being in this program gives people a chance to breathe, gives people a chance to figure out how do they improve their situations, and giving them the space to figure out how can I secure the job that I want? How can I go back to school? How can I do whatever it is that I'm interested in doing to make sure I can support myself and support my family?
To qualify for the Breathe program, you must be 18 years or older, live in an LA County neighborhood that falls at or is below the county's area median household income, have a household income that falls at or below the county's AMI, have been negatively financially impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, and must not be enrolled in another guaranteed income program. Today is the last date to apply. Visit breathe.lacounty.gov for more information. For Annenberg Media, I'm Sofia Gonzalez.
New York City police have arrested the alleged gunman responsible for yesterday's attack on a Brooklyn subway. The 62-year-old was charged with a federal terrorism offense after police say he turned himself in. The suspect was taken into custody 30 hours after the violent rampage. Police say he set off 2 smoke grenades and fired over 30 rounds in the train before officers arrived on scene. Law enforcement say the man bought the 9mm handgun in Ohio back in 2011. New York City Mayor Eric Adams called for increased gun regulations after the attack. The shooting injured 29 people, including 5 in critical but stable condition.
U.S. officials are looking into reports of possible Russian chemical weapon attacks on the besieged Ukrainian city of Mariupol. At this time, officials say there is no evidence to confirm these reports. Ukrainian officials say 3 soldiers were injured by a, quote, poisonous substance in Monday's attack. The Pentagon calls Russia's use, quote, deeply concerning. Western nations have warned that use of chemical weapons would heavily escalate the conflict and have pledged to take action if Russia carries out chemical weapon attacks. The Ukrainian Art and Culture Center of LA are hosting a fundraiser this weekend. The event will take place off of Melrose at the Ukrainian Culture Center. There will be an art exhibit, silent auction, and a classical music concert. The concert conductor says art can be a powerful tool to help displaced Ukrainians.
So we would like to raise money to support those who are in need in Ukraine. There are more than 10 million people who were moved, who are forced to move. We think that now is the time to show Ukrainian art.
Reporter Liza Monasabian is live at the Ukrainian Culture Center where the orchestra is getting ready for Sunday's concert. Liza?
Yes, Sydney, I'm here inside the Ukrainian Culture Center where today volunteers are setting up for a series of fundraising events happening this weekend, including a special art exhibition and a silent auction, all featuring Ukrainian and American artists. Now I'm delighted to be joined by Maxim Kuzim, who is the conductor of the all-volunteer symphony orchestra. He's here today and they're rehearsing tonight ahead of Sunday's concert performance at 3 p.m. Maxim, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to know, what more can people expect about the events that are happening this weekend?
Well, we have an exciting opportunity to hear all volunteer 50-plus piece orchestra this Sunday, which is a rare thing when people donate their time and skills, professional musicians. And you will, or those who come will hear a variety of Ukrainian music from the founder of the Ukrainian music, Mykola Lysenko, overture to opera Taras Bulba, to pieces like popular music, songs orchestrated for the full orchestra. And it's going to be everything in between. We will have Maxim Berezovsky music, which was the contemporary of Mozart and actually studied with him in Bologna. So it will be an exciting concert, I would say.
And tell me a little bit more about the volunteers who are going to be helping out this weekend.
Sure. So, as I mentioned, we are going to have an orchestra, full orchestra, professional musicians mainly, some music major students from the area, and a couple of very strong amateur players as well. But we have representatives from not only Ukraine, but also a lot of Americans are in the orchestra. And at least as far as I know, there is a Polish cellist, for example, but I'm sure there are more backgrounds than I just mentioned. And it's, probably people are so outraged with what Mr. Putin is doing that they just want to somehow show their solidarity and support for the war in Ukraine.
Thank you, Maxim. I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful afternoon of music making, very touching and very powerful. Thank you again. Just a reminder that the fundraising events are going to be happening on Saturday and Sunday, and all of the funds raised are going to help with the medical care and humanitarian efforts for the people of Ukraine. And make sure to check out uas.simpletix.com to be able to donate, learn more, and to purchase tickets for Sunday's afternoon concert at 3 p.m. For Annenberg Media, I'm Liza Monasabian. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks so much, Liza. The APASA Night Market is returning in person to McCarthy Quad. Free goods and more for the Trojan family.
To underclassmen with love, hear the advice seniors have about taking care of your mental health.
And it's the end of an era for Ground Zero. See how this spot was cherished for up-and-coming musicians.
Worried your friend's struggling but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could write them a text or knit them a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write them a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
USC's Asian Pacific American Student Assembly is organizing a night market to highlight Asian American and Pacific Islander culture. Food vendors there will include Mama Musubi, the BuzzFeed-featured Bombay Frankie Company, Vanilla's Go-Go Sauce from USC's Farmers Market, Meat Fresh, and Fantastic Donuts and Croissants. All food and desserts will be free. The festivities will take place tomorrow, April 14th, from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at McCarthy Quad. We spoke with APASA Programming Director Emma Hsu for more information about the night market.
Yeah, so the APASA night market is inspired from the traditional night markets in Taiwan, where you kind of browse a lot of food vendors and you play a lot of games, arcades. So we tried to mimic this. I'm most excited about just seeing people show up to the event and kind of being impressed by how much there is to do there. We have like these cute little pamphlets that kind of guide you throughout the entire event, and there's just so many different aspects of night market to explore, and there's so much to enjoy.
The event will also feature games, activities with local community organizations, free prizes, and student performances.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but today we are officially 1 month out from graduation. For this week's episode of Elevate, a few seniors took a trip down memory lane to reflect on how they would elevate their lives if they could do it all over again.
I would tell my freshman year self.
I would tell my freshman year self.
I would tell her.
I would say to my freshman year self, make space for yourself in a kind way.
If it's not going to matter in a year from now or in 5 years from now, then don't worry about it. It's not worth the stress and anxiety.
It's okay to ask for help. I realized that like my biggest
flaw my freshman year was not asking for help enough or being vulnerable and like talking my emotions out with even friends and family.
The past 4 years has really taught me to learn how to say no to things. And you're constantly thinking like, well, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I should be going out because I'm only in college for this long, and then because I'm setting myself up for failure because I'm not like meeting that expectation, or I'm pushing myself to do things that I don't actually want to do just because I feel like I should. If you don't want to go to the party, don't go to the party.
I prioritize sleep now. I would just spend so much time like staying up like super late at night, like studying, worrying about law school, worrying about the LSAT, worrying about my grades. And I realized that like it's not worth it. My health like isn't something that I'm willing to like give up and risk now.
When I'm like feeling kind of like down or grumpy or like even in sort of a depressive episode, it's like, what would I want? What do I need right now? What do I want right now? Like, what would I want a friend to say and like say to me right now? What would I want a friend to do for me right now? Like kind of keeping that internal gauge and like checking in on yourself constantly is really helpful.
It's okay not to be okay. You know, I'll be honest, I was struggling with not being okay for so long, especially during the last like year. But ultimately, whenever I made the change in my mind, like, dude, like it's fine like to have anxiety. It's fine to like tell people like I can't do this like for you right now. It's fine to like take a step back and just like take a break. Once I told myself that, I was like my life has been just way more positive and just way better and a way more honestly like authentic version of who I really am.
That was wonderful to hear everyone's stories. I really loved it. What is one piece of advice you could give your freshman year self, Ella?
I mean, there's a million. I agree with everything that everyone said, right? Taking time for yourself, saying no to things. But for me, it's really, it's being so intentional about my friendships and the work I'm doing and the people I'm surrounding myself with. Specifically, the Wednesday team here at ATVN, behind the camera, in front of the camera. I love you all. And you make me a better version of myself. What about you? I mean, what does it for you for your mental health?
Oh my gosh, well, we love you right back, first of all. And second of all, I think I would just say to my younger self, take more time to just breathe a little. You have all the time in the world, so young. So you know what? I would just say breathe and take time.
Breathe and take time. I love reflecting on, my college experience, especially being a month out from graduation. It's a very uncertain time. What also has been incredibly uncertain is the weather. It was 90 degrees over the weekend, 55 this morning. Lupe, what is going on with the drastically different temperatures and what can we expect for the weekend ahead?
Yes, that's right, Ella. Just a few days ago, it was really windy. Well, today it was much calmer. It was a nice sunny day with clear blue skies. And as your current conditions right now, we're looking at 63. Pretty nice outside. And looking into the 5-day forecast, we're going to continue with that sunny weather all throughout the week. In fact, it's going to be around the 70s. So into the weekend, we are looking at Saturday, a few clouds here and there, but nothing too crazy. And of course, Easter Sunday, we're looking at 71. And leading into to Monday, to the work week and the school week, we're into some really good temperatures, which is 75. So it's a lot warmer for that. And that is all for me here with the weather. Let's toss it to sports and see what they have going on.
USC men's basketball looks to the future. It is the super mega intergalactic rematch between USC and UCLA on the beach, and a transfer from the Bulldogs is headed home down Country Road. All coming up next in sports.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah.
Hey Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows? Maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Welcome back to ATVN Sports. I'm Sam Reno alongside Daniel Halpern and Eli Kleinman. Coming off another undefeated weekend, USC Beach Volleyball heads to Cal Poly this weekend for 4 more top 15 matchups. The Trojans cap off the weekend under the lights with a rematch on Saturday night against third-ranked UCLA. The Bruins handed USC its first and only loss of the season back on March 5th. Guys, they have 2 undefeated pairs still rolling. This is an incredibly hot team. I don't see how they don't get this done.
Yeah, I think Dane Blanton's squad, they have 22 wins straight right now. Why not make it 26, including one over UCLA?
Just 25, because the same thing will happen as March 5th. Bruins are getting the win.
One more thing, the North Sisters have only lost once in the last month. This team is incredibly hot against a struggling UCLA team.
Switching to basketball, the men's basketball team loses 5 of 6 starters heading into next season, with Boogie Ellis the only player who is 100% returning. Drew Peterson also has the ability to come back to school after he decided to test the draft waters earlier this week. So we are going to give you our ideal starting 5 for next season. I will start this. I have Boogie Ellis as my point guard. He is the leader of this team. I'm bringing in a transfer. The Illinois guard, Andre Curbelo, makes things happen. He's a magical player on the court. Drew Peterson will return. Big-time player. I think he'll come back instead of going to the draft. Joshua Morgan is a defensive presence, and the 5-star player, the center, Vince Iwuchekwu, is going to be a star. He's going to be in the starting lineup on day 1.
Well, I kind of agree with what you're saying in terms of the transfer. Do we not remember who is leading this team? It's Andy Enfield, the king of the transfer portal. So if you're asking me who's going to be in the starting 5, well, take a look at my picks. I have all question marks because I have no clue who's coming in. I'm sure he's going to change it up a bunch. We'll have a ton of new players coming in. So that's who I would say as of now.
I'm sure after watching this year, we'd all love to see some new talent in. But let's be realistic here. I want to play the kids. Let's throw them up. We're bringing back Boogie Ellis, and the rest of it, first years and under. I want Reese Dixon Waters coming back after a stellar freshman year where he dropped 16, a career high in the NCAA tournament game, and 3 freshmen at the 3-4-5. Trey White just committed out of Prolific Prep. Kajani Wright out of Sierra Canyon, and I'm with the Eli, the 5-star 7-footer Vince Iwuchekwu. I like the future of this team getting reps together as much as possible.
Former USC and Georgia quarterback JT Daniels transferred to West Virginia University. He will be reunited with his offensive coordinator from 2019, former Trojan coach Graham Harrell. The 5-star became the second ever true freshman to start week 1 for USC. After an up-and-down freshman season, he tore his ACL in his sophomore campaign, giving way to the Keaton Slovis era. Daniels then transferred to Georgia, where he once again lost the starting gig after an injury. The move to West Virginia sets the stage for the Battle of USC Past. In the opening week of 2022, Daniels will face another former Trojan, now Pitt quarterback Keaton Slovis.
Hi guys, we're back at the monitor again for another week of soccer. We got Champions League semifinal action, except this time we're going to have to come to a consensus on each of the 3 games we're going to pick here. So we're going to start semifinal 1 between Man City and Real Madrid. Who do you like?
I like Man City. They have the talent. They just came off a gritty win against Atletico Madrid, and that's a tough team to play.
But this Real Madrid team just took a punch straight to the face from Chelsea and came out the other side. Karim Benzema might be the best player in the world right now, and Luka Modric showed exactly why he's one of the best maestros in that midfield.
Despite Man City actually taking a punch against Atletico, I'll agree we'll take the 2 hottest players in the world.
I think the second semifinal here, we don't need to overthink it that much. This Villarreal team's fun. Unai Emery, masterclass incoming maybe, but they took 2 shots on target and only scored twice. This Liverpool team has way more talent. Let's go ahead and move them to the final.
To the final, Real Madrid and Liverpool, the 2 best players in the world at the moment, and Vinicius Jr., come on, it has to be Real Madrid.
This is a rematch of that 2018 final. Liverpool out for a little bit of revenge, and they're playing incredibly well. Mo Salah, again, one of the best players in the world. You can't underestimate Klopp. But I'm going to have to agree with you, too. I think we're going to come to the consensus on Real Madrid. Liverpool have a lot on their plate. They're playing in a domestic cup final. They're in the toughest domestic title race right now with Man City going back and forth. Real Madrid are going to coast in the Liga. They're going to be able to rest up and be ready for this final. I like this Real Madrid team and the best player in the world to get it done.
Back on top of the world.
From dinosaurs to reggae music, this week's edition of City Scoop features some new and fun events happening in Los Angeles you won't want to miss. Coming up next.
Lávate las manos por 20 segundos como Elmo.
Hay algo especial acerca de este lugar. Se siente como un hogar, una sala debajo del cielo y los árboles. Rodeado de aire fresco y la naturaleza. Todo aquí para que lo disfrutemos y para que lo cuidemos. Tenemos la responsabilidad de cuidar de esta tierra que llamamos casa, de preservarla para las generaciones que vienen. Cada acción pequeña contribuye para un cambio mayor y cada uno de nosotros podemos hacer la diferencia. Hay algo especial acerca de este bosque. Es un lugar donde se hacen recuerdos y juntos podemos preservarla y protegerla.
And we're back with another edition of City Scoop,
where we give you 5 events to check out and in around USC and LA. Lupe Yerenjas has this week's top 5. Lupe?
Thanks, guys. Whether you want to hang out with your friends or just have some quality me time, we have something for everyone here at this week's City Scoop. First off, we have the Community Clothesline Project and Resource Fair tomorrow, April 14 at the USC Village Lawn from 11 to 5. The first 50 attendees will be a part of a free arts and craft workshop led by Los Angeles fashion brand Kids of Immigrants. Up next, the Natural History Museum across the street from USC has a live news show featuring life-size dinosaurs. The showcase is happening tomorrow, Thursday, and into the weekend. And if you're a student, you can go in for just $6 with your student ID. Next, the Grammy Museum at the LA Live is giving us an inside look at Bob Marley's life with the exhibit Marley, A Family Legacy. It tells the story of a new generation of Marleys in a musical way. Up next, as mentioned earlier, the Ukraine Art Center and the Ukraine Culture Center of Los Angeles is having a 2-day art exhibit and auction fundraiser on Saturday and Sunday. And all 100% of the proceeds will go to support those in Ukraine. Lastly, the USC Thornton Chamber Orchestra will be performing this Friday, where else? Here on campus, at the Bobar Auditorium at 7:30 p.m. Well, that's all for this week's City Scoop. Tune in next week for another edition. Ella and Sydney, back to you in the studio.
Ground Zero Performance Cafe, a hub for USC student talent, is set to close down and be demolished this coming May. We wanted to honor all the joy it has brought to campus. Take a look.
My intuition analyze. There's nothing you can ever hide.
Sydney, I've never been to Ground Zero, but it kind of looks like the spot, and it's a little sad that places where we can congregate to watch student talent are, it's closing its doors.
Exactly, I agree with you. I've also never been, but maybe we can swing by before it closes.
I think we should. I think we should go tonight after the show. Well, thank you so much for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone here at Annenberg Media, I'm Ella Katz.
And I'm Sydney Charles. For more coverage, watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Annenberg Media. Good night.